Jonah 1:1-3 says this: "The word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Get up, go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because their evil has come up before me." And Jonah got up to flee to Tarshish from the Lord's presence. You know, yesterday I was taking my two dogs on a walk, and we go about 1.5 miles to get to a park that's right by my house. And we got to the park and I let them go free and I let them play, and we walk around the park several times. And normally I find a bench and I sit down to give my dogs and myself a little bit of rest before we make that 1.5 mile trip back home. But yesterday I was ready to go. I was like, we're not taking any breaks, we're not going. And I get to go back to put my dogs back on their leash. This is the leash that I put them back on. And when I go get to my older dog, Sadie, she sits down, and I put her leash on, and she doesn't want to go. And it kind of reminded me of the time that we're in right now. You see, I believe that for a lot of us, God is calling us to get up and go. We might think this is a time for us to relax. This might be a time for us to go watch more Netflix shows, more Disney Plus, watch Onward for the 4th time. But you see, I believe that God is placing visions and dreams in each and every one of your hearts today. And if it isn't today, it will be soon. If not, it's already happened of what God wants you to do. You see, we are all influencers. But I think sometimes the dream scares us so much, or we think, man, I don't have time, I don't have the resources. But you see, God didn't ask Jonah to think about it. God didn't ask Jonah, hey, why don't you sleep on it? He said, get up and go. You see, I think a lot of us are just waiting for us to go back to normal, that we're going to live our lives the same way we did before coronavirus, BC. But you see, going back to normal, I think that's just so ironic that we want to go backwards. We want to retract from the progress that we make. You see, if I look back, I can never go forward. And God is planting new dreams for your new normal that is ahead of you. But I think a lot of us, we need to not be like Jonah, and we need to say, hey, you know what? I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what excuses you are making right now, but they have to stop. Why? Because as we see with Jonah, if we read the whole book of Jonah, what we come to understand is that Jonah saves an entire city because he eventually, and sometimes unwillingly, becomes obedient to the will of God. And could it be that God has placed dreams in your life, not for your benefit, but for the benefit of others, so that way heaven can expand? I'm curious, ever since the beginning of March, I wonder how many YouTube channels have been started. I'm just curious. I would really love to know the statistic, but I guarantee you it's grown in abundance. Why? Because people are wanting to publish because they know they have influence. Maybe they might only have influence with 5 people. Maybe it's 25,000 people. Maybe it's 25 million people, but you are an influencer and God is giving you dreams. And so my challenge for you today is this: get up and go. Get up and go towards the dream that God has put in your heart these last several weeks, or that maybe He's put in there a year ago and you didn't know why God called you to that. But get up and go, because it's not just for you, it is for so many other people, so that way people can not only just know Jesus, but grow closer to Jesus and grow deeper with Jesus.